Alright, I'm in a goddamn time portal. A reverse time portal. Alright, so in the last live, I talked about how I was definitely going to finish the day. It's just a baby step, yes, left because I beasted. And that might be true, actually, because if I decided not to do this video uh, and just kept going, I may have actually been able to finish today. But I couldn't stop thinking about this live, so here we are. So it's funny because I've experienced it before because I beasted that up there, so I know all the steps it takes to getting this to look like beautiful down to the dirt. And that's how I know that the following is subconscious sabotage, right? And if balance is the truth, then subconscious sabotage is likewise setting myself up for success. And if I can't stop thinking about this video, and so I want to record it, it's like what I want to do, then why would I ignore that to finish, right? Now, if this was on someone else's time, like maybe I should have to just finish. You know what I'm saying? But it's on my time. This is actually free. Like I said, I stopped charging at the last step. And lies can be convincing, but the truth is undeniable. And I also knew that I wanted to get pictures, because yesterday I got pictures of it before, so with all the brush and shit grown over. But I need to go and get pictures of it like this. Like, even this step was too much. But I knew I was going to wait till I got here, so I'll go back there and record, take pictures, so there's before, after, and then after, so I can tell people, like, it's $2 a square foot if you just want me to go in and chop it down and move it out. And it looks like this, so there'll still be the vines and all the low-growing stuff on the ground or whatever, like it is now, which I'll take you and show you also. But then if you want it to be down to the dirt, you know, that's $4 per square foot. Or I don't know if that's actually what I'm going to charge, but it's probably pretty close. So, boom, that was proof. It was a proof to let me know that I should do this video along with the other things that I just mentioned previously. And so, since lies can be convincing, the truth is undeniable, I know that most of the signs, almost all the signs are pointing towards I should just stop and do this video, right? That is the action that is based out of love, not the one based out of fear. If I chose not to do it, even though I want to, then I know that I would have made that choice because I feared getting judged, feared I wouldn't be able to say everything the way I wanted to say. Whatever it is, there would be some kind of fear there. And you want to find those things. But there's nothing to find there for me because I took the video out and I'm recording it. So since this is my time, it's a lot like earlier when I was saying, do I try to take the time to carry everything from the Jeep to here, even though I might have to go back for one thing that I won't be able to carry? Or do I just carry, you know, the stuff that I can carry quickly, bring it here, boom, put it down, and then go back and get the other stuff, right? It's actually quicker than the amount of time that I waste trying to do everything at one time or whatever. Now, baby steps is something I was talking about in the last live. Baby steps is something you always want to try to take for everything. And I will show you the steps here now that I'm taking. So, you clear all the brush down so it looks like a pile, right? And this is what it looks like. Okay? There's still roots in the ground and stuff, but it's cleared. There's a path through here we can walk. I'm a beast too. I did this in like 5 hours yesterday, 4 or 5 hours. Well, this down here in 4 hours. But yeah, so it looks like that with just a bunch of green shit growing out of it, right? You're in here with loppers, not a weed eater, so that stuff it's pointless to waste time trying to hit those things with the loppers when you're gonna come through with a weed eater anyway. But I will still waste time doing things like that. Like there are some of these in here that are cut down because I took that time. Now, old me would have been like, oh, I'm OCD, so I gotta clip them now. But that's just an excuse to allow fear to be the driving factor in my life, right? For whatever I fear, getting ahead for whatever reason, like it's gonna be too much work once I do, whatever it is. And I do that in a lot of things in life, so it's all about figuring out how to get past those false programmings of comfort. So yeah, boom, charge one for that. Now, if they say they want to do this and go to the dirt, it is baby steps, and every baby step has a baby step. And so you could start anywhere, right, at one of the ends, presumably, unless you're like me. Sometimes I just want to do the weird thing, but you start in the middle, right, and then work your way down there. But the truth is, if you want to be great and understand something to the most that you can, you want to start at the bottom, then work your way. And so everything will prove that, because lies can be convincing, but the truth is undeniable, right? So when I start in the middle, I work my way back, and then I almost get done. And here, this is quick, so I knew I was going to go backwards, or for example. But it's like yesterday, I started here removing the brush, and I got all the way down to the end, and I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'm about done. And then I had to go back to the car for something. And then as I was walking, I was like, fuck, I forgot I had this left. And it was fine, because this is easy. It was lightly brushed compared to that. And that's why I initially said I'll just go this way, do the hardest first. But it sucked getting to the end and thinking I was done, then realizing I had more to do. Now, I could have just started at the beginning, knocked that shit out. It's easier. Easier allows me to warm up. Easier is easier for me to get started and procrastinate less, and then keep going. So truth is just to start at the bottom. All things in life are going to reveal the same thing. Almost all things in life will reveal the same truth. And so in doing this, you can start end, bottom, like I was saying, and you can just start weed eating. Stuff like this, if you know your weed eater's not, it don't matter how strong your weed eater is, probably not going to cut this down, or something thick like that, right? But these things will be so low unless you do a 100% job whenever you're cutting them down, which I could have done a better job than this. But like I was saying with the little twig thing, you don't want to get too anal about it. Especially like you want to see if they want to charge for things like that. That comes into pricing. $2 per square foot plus 50 cents per shrub bigger than an inch. You know, and that fucking $10 for a tree, whatever it is. So if you do get to this point, which is where I'm at, and why I'm explaining it this way, you'll see there's a lot of these things just protruding out, right? But you can't see them when the grass is at the first length. So if you go through here trying to weed eat it all down to the base, you'll keep running into stuff. Your weed eater will keep bumping into these things. Your string is going to die a lot quicker. You're going to lose more string, and you're going to have to replace it more, right? So that already shows you that this isn't the right path. There's too many difficulties, right? And life is easy if you're taking it accordingly. Baby steps. Baby steps. Easy is a weird word. I hate the English language for so many reasons. But this is the one I'm going to go with for now, because it's easiest to comprehend, right? And so it's hard, though. It's difficult. It's stressful. So you know it's not the way to go. So since my shit is running into that, I find a way that it is easily to accomplish the same job while taking into account all the fucking things I've talked about since the beginning of this. And so I noticed over time that if I keep it high, 5-6 inches, then I run into less of this stuff. My weed eater doesn't bump into it as much. And I learned this whole trigger mechanism thing where you go back and forth and you hold it down as you go back, stop, you let off the trigger around here so it slows down. And this helps also, but that's a little bit too deep. It's just more baby steps, everything. So this is why like focus is so important, because everything is made up of steps. And so if you're not focused on why your girl is maybe, or that your girl is cheating on you and she's not, or whatever it is, if you're focused on that shit, then you're not paying attention to the task at hand. If you're not paying attention at the task at hand, you're not going to be able to get, 1% better every day, which is 37 overall percent better at anything, which is fucking amazing at the end of the year. So you find a way that it's easy. That first layer I'm able to go through, zing, I do the whole thing, but I do it way quicker than if I was to try to continue to bump into the hurdles, right? And then I go back over it again, which now I'm going lower, so there's still a greater chance of me running into things, right? But not really, because now the grass is lower, or the shrubs and all the weeds and stuff, now that is lower, so I can see the things protruding out of there, so I don't run into them. And since I can see them, I can prepare for them. I can tilt the weed eater sideways so that it gets down in there but doesn't hit the stuff on this side if it's tight spots or whatever. And so you can run back even more quickly. even more quickly. Like, it's just more efficient, right? So you're not running into the obstacles. And then you go back over it again, which is about where I'm at here, because you'll start to see roots up under the stuff that's grown, and they'll be tall. You can't see here. I was going to stop earlier, but this is better for me. You can see here, though. Here's a good example. So there's a bunch of just like roots and stuff like that, like the fence line there, but all the way out through here. You can see those, and they're flimsy. They're not hard, so they can be cut. But you got to do this one, maybe not. This is a hard one. That's probably why it's still there. Today, I had the realization that this is where you would use a blade. I've never been able to find a efficient reason to use blades, because it's always easier to cut the brush and then peel it back. Unless you have like an excavator, then it would be. But this is it. So you do those 2 steps, boom, 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 real quick. Now you're down to this level. Now I can go through here with the weed eater, which I will, and, you know, get the rest of this, and then it's at the dirt. But if you see, there's a bunch of these little roots deep into it, right? And these break the string. These are not easy to cut at all. But they're kind of hidden by all the debris and the chopped up debris left over from the weed eater. So the next step is actually to go in here with a blower, blow out. Don't get stuck. If you find yourself having to blow a lot to try to get something unstuck, don't do that. Just keep it flowing. So you come through and you blow as much as you can out of the way, because that gets the easiest stuff done that way. It'll reveal the roots better. Then I go through with a machete, or these loppers, or the scissor loppers, right? You know, the specific head loppers, or the scissor loppers. And then I get all the roots out, and boom, bobbity bing, bang, 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 they're done. It seems like a lot, but it's really not. It actually goes pretty quickly once you do that task and continue to do what I'm talking about now, and always look for ways to get a little bit better. But you can use the blade, which is what I'm talking about now, so I need to find mine, which is another reason that it was okay to stop and go ahead and get the video, right? But anyway, because lies can be convinced the truth is undeniable. So you go through with the blade, and you can get everything, those roots, the big things, all of that. And then you can go through with your weed eater and hit everything else that needs to get done. And instead of taking time to try to do it all at once with the blade, which is ridiculous, I promise you, it sounds like it would just be easier, but you can't see anything. It really takes a lot more time than it would to take literally 5 to 10 minutes to go down and then back, but just on the top layer, maybe even less than 5 minutes. That's why I got on this and was like, I feel like I'm in a time portal. That's why, because I'm getting a lot more done where it used to would have taken me a long time to get to the same place, because I would get procrastinated, doing things like I was talking about, like cutting those things down with loppers, when I'm going to come back over with the weed eater and it can handle them. Right, now this is just an example about this fucking thing right here. You might be like, I don't give a fuck about landscaping. But it's not just landscaping. It's not just this specific thing, brush removal. It's everything in life works the same way. The devil good. The devil keep us busy focusing on assumptions. Things that are not even fucking real. Things that we've come up with inside of our minds by having conversations with people in our heads and then trying to act like we're having a conversation with them. I know how they think. No, you don't. You only know how you think, because you've been with you your entire life. You're making an assumption that that's what they're going to say. Now, maybe you understand their patterns and you can accurately predict some assumptions. That's even more dangerous, because then that makes you believe even more that you understand them and how they think. And so you put less time into actually trying to understand. Now, don't focus on other people. If you can't understand yourself, you're definitely not going to be able to understand somebody else. And so that's why you got to go into the wilderness. That's why you have to separate yourself from people. I love it, because over like the past 10 years since my mom killed herself, I just separated myself completely from people. So I already been in the desert and wandering around and shit. I'm coming out now and like, I'm coming out. I want to. Motherfucker, dude, all my relationships are fucking fruitful as fuck, dude. People that I once loved, I was like, man, I don't know why they don't love me. Fruitful, nigga, because I just realized like the things I'm trying to hold against them, they can't solve. That was the best thing. I had this friend whenever that bunny died, that other bunny I got, and I didn't have anybody else to talk to, but I had him. This is my nigga. I knew that he was my nigga. I loved him, all that shit, right? And so when he didn't give a fuck, And it's not that he didn't give a fuck. It's just like, what can he say? You know, he tried to say some things, and I respect the fuck out of that. But in that moment, I realized, man, there's nothing he could say that's going to help. I still just have to deal with it. So even back then, when I went through all that hard shit that I used to try to waste my time blaming my family and my friends for not being there for, it's all just a waste of fucking time, because they would have, if they would have been there, I'd have been in the same position. Maybe not. I'd have been in a worse position because I wasn't staying focused on getting myself out of the hole, right? I would have been distracting myself with band-aids by going to all these other people, right? But I had to accept that who I had was me and make that shit happen. And I didn't put it on them to be making me happy. But I had to experience what it was like to have it to understand that I didn't need it. But it was great because it helped me stop blaming all that people. When I was already not blaming people when I understood it. So he just helped to expand on, you know, the understanding that I had. You could try to say it's everybody else's fault because they don't share your shit, which is a story I explained in the last live. You could try to say it's their fault because of, like, even your parents are the ones that you could mostly blame for shit, right? Because they are the ones who were responsible for your programming. But you're an adult. You have to see and understand how the brain works. Then you understand that it's all just programming. And then you understand that your parents, dude, they're not perfect. They're just like you, fucking trying to figure shit out. And so, focus on you and learning and problem solving for yourself. And then anything people do for you, that'll be extra. You feel me? And then if they don't do it, it's not taking away from. It's wild how many people, like, I'll do things for, and then one time I can't do something for them, and then it's the end of the fucking world, or I'm a fucking asshole, I don't fucking care, whatever it is. All the other stuff goes out of the window, which was good. It helped me to realize, like, dude, you can do all you want. It's not going to keep people around. So it's just a waste. And this whole time you could have been putting it towards yourself, and you could have built yourself to a position where your money is like automated now. Maybe you're not rich, but you have enough to keep what you want. You could live forever like this, and then your kids could live forever like this. And then you could teach them how to also do likewise. And then generations get better, right? Smarter, wiser. But that's not happening because we're all focused on these things right here. And then someone like me comes and says some fucking real shit. And then people who need it take it and get it. And it's not a lot of people, but it's some people. And those are the people that I do this for, because I get better when I do this. I get even better when I go back and watch it. Because I'm like, damn, man. I get to see kind of me from an outside perspective. It's so, I don't know how to explain it. It's weird. This chick was like, the psychiatrist was trying to tell me like how important it is to like sit inside front of a mirror and talk to yourself and shit. And she's not wrong, right? But then to assume that I don't, like, I do that. I do that on steroids. I sit in front of this mirror, talk to myself in a way that I can go back and actually stop and fucking watch it. So I get to experience it in real time and later. I'm telling you, you will preserve so many friendships once you realize nobody owes you anything. So everything they're doing is just extra. Right? And you don't owe anybody anything. And the more you do for people, you give them a crutch, and they never learn the lesson of how not to let that thing keep happening to them. You're basically just throwing your money down a pit when you could have been focused. Now, maybe you'll take that same money and then go out to eat, and instead of going out to eat and wasting it, you want to waste it doing the thing for your friend. But supplementing one subconscious sabotage for another isn't better. It's not better or worse. That's why it's important to focus and to understand what it is that you want to be happy, by realizing what the things you have done that you're happy with, and then the things that you've done that you're not happy with. It's important. If you're young, the younger you are, learn this shit, the better. You don't want to wait until you're on your deathbed to be like, fuck, that wasn't stuff that actually mattered. Dude, fucking so many people do that shit, dude. So many people do that shit. And I'm like smiling shit, it's not funny. Dude, it's sad. But you could hear me right now, man. Your past isn't a memory book to be happy or sad over. If there's emotions tied to it, those emotions are just there because you want you to realize what you could have done to change it. And you just keep ignoring it and trying to blame it on somebody else. It's funny because we have like these built in, like God has built it all into our DNA, but the devil goddamn good. The nigga been playing the slow game, right? Baby steps. Our parents program us, and then we program the children, and then there were means set forth to make us more ignorant and less conscious of who we are and what we truly believe in and care about, like TVs, music, all this stuff. Tools used against us, but tools we can use for ourselves, right? Because there's balance in everything. But if I was the devil, this is the approach that I would take. The long, slow baby step game. Because I understand that that's truth and that's how everything works. And so lies can be convincing, but the truth is undeniable. I'm not perfect by any means. And I'm not super, super good at this stuff. But I do understand it, right? And I just want other people to also understand it. Because when we do that, then we're all going to be at our best potential. And then we can all have a life that we actually love and that we're happy. And depression isn't a thing that's rising. You see, depression is growing because of lifestyle. That was so good, though, that you could point to so many different things and blame it on it. Oh, it's the government. It's the fact that food prices are too high. It's the fact that this and this and this. But if we all understood our truest potential and we were happy every day we woke up with the thing that we did, that we've chosen to do, the prices wouldn't even fucking matter. We'd definitely be able to cover it. But as likely, we probably wouldn't even have to cover it because the barter system would be it would be good. And we'd be getting better at the barter system because it's something we would be applying. And getting good to make sure nobody has to fucking be goddamn homeless. The world's population could have like a 3x3 or some shit, or 6x6 spot in Texas. The whole world could live in Texas. The whole world's population could live in Texas in like a little 6x6 or some shit. It's fucking wild. They tell us there's not enough. But if everybody knew how to goddamn garden and use the resources that they have, it'd be more than okay. We could still have fast cars. We could still have anything because people love these things and people would love every process that it takes to get to the completion of these things. And as long as everybody's doing it and everybody's chipping in and everybody's making sure that everything's goddamn fair, like, dude, we're gravy. Nobody would have to spend 100% of their time doing the cars, but the people who do spend 100% would obviously have more access to them or whatever, right? But then you divide what you care about up amongst these things. Right, so maybe you don't want to have it, but you go and you help work on the car because, you know, like you get to borrow it 2 days out of every month or some shit. You know, you didn't put in as much work, so you don't have as much access to it, but you still have access to that, and you have access to the relationship that you have. And the guy who put all his time into the car, he doesn't have the relationship, right, because he chose to make that sacrifice. Dude, that's how life works right fucking now anyway. We've all just agreed that money is okay to be shared. Right? I'm telling you, the devil's good. That's how I would do it. I would take something that I know is truth and I would just bend it ever so slightly in my direction. It's wild. The Bible was written by people, but God's so good, his word's so pure, that even through translations and shit, like you could still get the message. Right? And it'll resonate in your heart. It'll on every frequency. I hate hippity-dippity stuff, frequency and stuff like that, but legit. Lies can be convincing, but the truth is undeniable. It will always add up to everything in your mind, your supercomputer that is your subconscious. That whatever you believe, you are going through pain into reality. Because those are the paths you're going to take to make sure that things remain the same. That's why that's what subconscious sabotage is. It's you trying to help you see what you need to do to set yourself up for success. But the devil bends it so that we believe that what it is it's subconscious sabotage. Right? If you got a truth and the light is where they need to be, but you make them see the other side and believe in the other side, you're as far away from the light as you could possibly be. And you're at the most dangerous level too. because of shit like cognitive dissonance. You know, what you believe in is such a part of who you are, it's hard to want to let go of it. But I won't grow, baby. So I'm open. I would love for people who disagree with my philosophy to tell me that, and let's do lives talking back and forth. Sometimes maybe I'll be wrong. I think often a lot of you will be wrong because you're making assumptions about who I am, and all I'm doing is speaking on shit that I focus on and learn from myself. I'm not saying I'm better, I'm just saying to do my shit would be everything that I say comes from a place of wanting to have understanding and wanting it so bad that I see it and I experience it. And so it's cool if you disagree with me, right? But if you judge my character based on it when you didn't even try to have a conversation to see exactly where I'm coming from, you're just wasting your time and your energy. Because I don't give a shit what you're doing. Like, I used to kind of, and still I guess kind of do care, like, that people do that, but not enough to where, like, I care. Like, I'm still out here doing this. And the only reason I'm doing this live right now is because I care about me, and I want me to be able to say these things. Because there are people who hear me, even if you're not one of them. There's somebody who will message me and be like, God damn, dude, this shit is real. I do not know why a million people aren't fucking watching this. I can show you so many examples of people who said that shit. I can also show you so many examples where they said that, and then after they don't get what they expect to get out of me, they don't fucking talk to me anymore. But that's why I don't read too much into any of that shit, because it's all just assumptions. And I'm trying to get as far away from as I can from assumptions. I don't even want to be like, oh, assuming that they just disappeared because of what I just said. Right? They could have done it because, like, maybe a family member of theirs died and they just stopped getting on Facebook as much. You know? What's important is just to focus on what I want. And if someone watches, they're like, oh man, that dude's being super fake. Which I get a lot also, man. And it's actually caused me to be like, am I being super fake? So often, man. Which is good though, it helps me grow, because if I'm questioning it, then yeah, I don't truly believe in what I am saying. So I've had to question it, and I understand being like, oh, he's fake, because you're holding it up to what you believe in. And if you hear like, man, if I said those things, I'd be saying it from this perspective. Your own personal one, right? But you're not hearing it from my perspective. Like, you'd make an assumption, then you run with it. Instead of being like, huh, you said this, and I think it's bullshit. Which you don't have to do. You don't gotta fucking address me with it. But if something triggers me, that's what I do. I go like, hey, you said this, but we're actually friends, or I think we could be friends, or I respect you, or whatever it is. And I just say, hey, you said this, whatever. I'll hear rumors about someone, be like, yo, I heard this. Or sometimes I'll hear rumors about people, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go talk to you and see how they are. I play games, and I'm not saying it's wrong or right, but I don't think it's good. But it is what it is. You know, I do it out of love. Well, it's a love and fear thing, right? I do it because I fear maybe having a close relationship with someone that I'm really not that attracted to. For some reason, I want to like talk to them, you know. But that's just a whole nother story for another day. I'm about to get off here. If anything, I got enough daylight to take the pictures of, you know, the middle step. And then tomorrow I'll come and we'll finish getting this to a final step. Still got a half of this left. I'm gonna chug this and get to it. But I got nothing but love. I'm done ranting. I feel good. Good release. Good release. Now I can actually go over here and I won't be thinking about doing this message like I was talking about earlier. Now it's out of my system. Now I can focus. It's a beautiful thing. And I understand myself enough to get to the point where I can focus, because I used to occupy my brain so much I didn't even realize that I needed to focus on anything. So I've come a long way. Fucking long way. Love.